One paramount thing that you got to accomplish as a football team. If you can take the other team's will away from being able to run the football, you got a chance to control the game. I mean, it's been that way in the National Football League. It's that way in high school. The other team, if you can make it a one-dimensional game where they have to throw all the time and you know they have to throw, you got a better chance of winning the game.
Question. 2 years ago, it might have been, it sound like a ridiculous question, but the way weeks go and game plans change, with the teams that are popping up this wildcat, wild whatever offense, do you have to, by default, at some point look at that offense and how to scheme for down the road? Or?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, but it's a lot more prevalent now. You know, I mean, conceivably 4 or 5 years ago, West Virginia might have been the only school in the country that was actually running that. Now you may play 4 teams. It's equally as difficult for the offense that Paul Johnson's running at Georgia Tech. They are the only team in the ACC that runs that offense, and you only get 3 days to get ready for that. And that makes it extraordinary. We referenced that a little bit earlier when we were talking about the Oklahoma teams in the 70s when they burst in the scene with the wishbone. I mean, they just blew people away because you didn't have any idea, and you saw it once and you never saw it again, and so you weren't hardly any better prepared the next year for it.
Was there any benefit for Yates last year in terms of the cerebral part of the game, sitting out and watching that as a kind of as a coach rather than a player?
I don't think so, to be honest with you. I mean, that all sounds like good lip service. I'll come to the sidelines and watch the game, and maybe for a quarter or for a half to watch a game and just kind of remove yourself. There's no substitute for playing. I mean, you can make all the alibis you want to. He would have been a better player today if he'd have started those 7 games that he missed. Just for going in, the speed of the game, all the experience, the throws, the reads. I got to think he would have been a better player in playing in those games.
Now you got Yates back, but you lost some really talented receivers. What is the state of that passing game? How concerned or not concerned are you?
I'm concerned. Yeah, I got to be. I mean, we've got some work to do to replace those guys, and I made this statement. I mean, we are not going to be as good at receiver September the 3rd as we were at any time last year. Do I think that we're going to be okay, and do we expect to improve as the season goes along? Absolutely. I'll be thoroughly disappointed if those guys don't come on and learn to play. I mean, there's some kids that we're counting on them to be, significant contributors, and I think they will be good players.
Because you got Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech in your division, can this be the year you finish the top of them, or are those two guys? Is there still a gap between this program and those two guys?
Who knows? You got to show up and play and win. I mean, it's a one game at a time. When we get to those games, we beat Georgia Tech last year, and we played a pretty good game against Virginia Tech, and we had our chances in that game to win the game.
With the quarterback and with the defense, I mean, you feel like, okay, at least I got the elements in place that I could have a chance this year, kind of thing, or do you kind of look more at the holes than what you got back?
Yeah, but see, all of those are hypothetical questions. What if? You're going to tell me who's going to get hurt this year for Virginia Tech? Who's going to get hurt for Georgia Tech? And I'll give you a better answer if you can tell me who all's playing on those days.
How would you characterize what Marvin played last year?
Solid, and at times spectacular. He is starting to learn, and that's a very, very, people just think that all you got to do is be this beast of an athlete. Go out there. You got to learn how to play the position. There's as much craftsmanship in learning to be a good defensive lineman, how to play double teams, how to rush certain protections and stuff. And I think he got better as the season went along. For a defensive lineman to get the kind of notoriety and the production, you got to have a good supporting cast. You got to have other good defensive linemen that are playing well, that they go, well, we can't just worry about one guy. We've got to worry about him. We've got to worry about this guy. We've got to worry about this linebacker. And as the defense gets better, you'll see those guys become better players. I can tell you from coaching Cortez Kennedy and Jerome Brown, Russell Maryland, a whole host of defensive linemen, they went through the same growth problems. I mean, early in their career, they look fabulous. They look like they should just be, wrecking havoc. And before their career's over with, they all did, but they all had a lot of growing pains learning to play.
Is it unfair to look at numbers of interior defensive linemen?
I don't think so. I think it's, because a lot of the things that they do sometimes are somewhat unselfish. They're taking on double teams, or they're holding off guys, keeping the offensive linemen to get into the second level, to get to the linebackers. I think if you see linebackers that are having phenomenal numbers, they're 150. The guys in front of them are playing really good.